Yep, it has been a year. In 2021, we've laughed, we've cried, we've eaten lots of plastic cheese, but most importantly, we have laughed as much as possible, considering the circumstances. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Vlog. Today I'm going to walk down memory lane with you. The team and I have experienced our fair share of standout moments in 2021. From moments that made us go aw and feel warm and fuzzy inside, to those that we basically busted our seams from laughing so hard. So sit back, relax in your cozy jammies and hot tea or whatever your preferred beverage may be right now, and join us as we explore our very own DFV Wrapped. A lot of places are just recapping the biggest news from the year. We're gonna recap the biggest laughs. Okay, just like our food ventures don't always turn out the way we thought they would, neither do our ride-throughs. And 2021 really did keep us on our toes with all the ride mishaps and the closures and the evacuations. So you know how I'm always telling you guys, download an AccuWeather app and keep track of the forecast so you know whether or not you should jump in line for a certain outdoor attraction? Well, here's a personal example of how Orlando weather can really throw off your groove when it comes to rides. A couple of our reporters were waiting to ride People Mover in Magic Kingdom on a day that absolutely poured. Instead of continuing to wait in line while a lake of water pooled around their ankles, many guests, including our reporters, saved their spot in the People Mover line with miscellaneous items like water bottles and rubber ducks. Then they took shelter under a nearby awning. This rainstorm didn't stop guests at the Magic Kingdom from having a grand old time, though. Many embraced the Floridian monsoon by dancing and slip and sliding in the huge puddles pooling up around the park. Guess there's some merit to that old phrase, life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass, it's about learning to dance in the rain, right? Fortunately, the rain finally calmed down, but it was one of those instances where it took forever to do so. Our reporters lingered in the parks for over 7 hours before finally getting a ride on the People Mover. Now, this was the opening day of the People Mover after being closed for a year and a half, so it was really, really important, but most days, heads up, don't wait 7 hours for the People Mover. And another little ride mishap, let's talk Rise of the Resistance. When the new Disney Genie service launched in Disney World, DFV was there, front and center in all the parks, ready to take on the new system by storm and learn all the ins and outs of what it has to offer. That meant we also tried that pay-per-ride side of Disney Genie, the individual attraction selections or the fancy rides. Our reporter paid $15 for access to the Rise of the Resistance Lightning Lane to see just how well the FastPass replacement worked. But it wasn't necessarily the system that was acting up. It was, of course, Rise itself. When it was our reporter's return time for the ride, she scanned her pass and found out the ride was temporarily unavailable. Now, instead of getting a refund, she received an experience redemption on her My Disney Experience app, meaning that once the ride was back online, she'd be able to hop in the Lightning Lane whenever, as long as she did so by the end of the day. Skip ahead to later, the ride was back up and running, and our reporter jumped into the Lightning Lane ASAP, but when she was on the ride, it broke down again. She was escorted off the ride and given another experience redemption. But if that wasn't bad enough, the ride yet again broke down for a third time during the day, and she was given her third experience redemption. It was like she was collecting them at this point. But finally, she was able to scan that pass and get on the ride without being evacuated. What did she learn from this? Disney won't give you a refund on your individual attraction selection unless the ride doesn't reopen for the rest of the day. But you can always talk to guest relations to discuss the situation. They may be able to help you out. No, they can't magically reopen a broken down ride, but they may be able to give you some different options that you can't find on the My Disney Experience app, like a refund if you have to leave the park right away. And let's talk for a second about It's a Small World. Now, you know our good friend Molly over at All Ears, right? Well, we couldn't help but share her pain after seeing her get stuck on It's a Small World at Magic Kingdom. And we're not talking about that little boat delay that often happens when the boats get a little too close to each other near the ride's final scene. Nope. After enduring the Small World music for much longer than Molly cared to admit, the cast members finally shut off the happy-go-lucky song, and there was much rejoicing. But then she claimed it got almost more unsettling because then she was surrounded by a lot of silent moving dolls for a very long time. Nightmare fuel? Yeah, probably. Nonetheless, Molly stayed calm, cool, and collected and waited for the cast members to come escort her out of the boat and into freedom. Molly, the DFB team's all glad you made it out okay, because if it had been me, I may have lost my mind in there. And And Test Track. Yes, now it's my turn. So there I am at Test Track in Epcot, ready to put my car's high-speed skills to the test, hence the name Test Track, and start off strong, y'all. Like I'm just whipping it around the track, the wind's in my hair, the sun's shining down, and then all of a sudden, the car comes screeching to a halt. So much for record-breaking speeds. Yep, that's right, I got stuck on Test Track. And it would have been one thing to get stuck on the track and be on a level surface, but we weren't. We were stuck on the actual curve. So I got to be a real pro at the whole leaning left thing. We were literally horizontal, and we were there for quite some time. It's all right though, everyone. I know you're all highly concerned for my well-being, but I wasn't stuck in that position for, 90 minutes like Molly was. About 20 minutes later, the ride came back online, and we were a little concerned. Would we take off at 60 miles an hour, or would we just sort of putt along to get to the end of the ride? And guess what? It started up fast. We were back up to 65 miles an hour in time for it to clock our speed. So if you ever get stuck on Test Track and wonder if you're gonna start slow or fast, definitely brace yourselves. Now, I know ride breakdowns and hiccups like these can be frustrating, and they happen what seems like a little too often, but it's not the end of the world. In fact, it can be kind of fun, something you can look back on and laugh at later. Then again, I didn't get stuck on Small World for 90 minutes, so maybe I should bite my tongue. So I couldn't count this one as a ride breakdown per se, but I definitely count it as a different type of breakdown, as in I broke down when I thought Donald was going to be replaced by a plant for the foreseeable future. That's right, we're talking about Plant Donald. I'm getting ahead of myself here. In order to fully understand the absurdity of this story, if you're not already familiar with it, you gotta join me at the beginning of this year over in Epcot at the Mexico Pavilion. Grand Fiesta Tour starring the Three Caballeros is a cutesy little boat ride that has guests helping Panchito and Jose track down a missing Donald. Normally, the two birds find our hot-headed mallard friend, and they conclude the ride in a lovely-ish song thanks to animatronic technology. Gotta love our robo-buddies. However, at the beginning of January, Donald kind of messed up the conclusion of the ride by remaining missing. Our poor Donald Duck animatronic was gone, and in his place, a lowly plant wearing a sombrero. Yes, literally a plant. Hardly a suitable substitute. Can a plant scream lyrics in an impressively off-pitch key? I don't think so. I've never met any plants that can do that. By the end of January, the entire trio was replaced by cardboard cutouts, or maybe they were like MDF or whatever. And this change lasted for quite some time, to the point where many guests feared our feathered animatronic friends would never return. But lo, on a wonderful day in the middle of May 19th to be exact, the trio returned. Adios, cardboard cutouts and Plant Donald. But for those of us who experience Plant Donald, it's an experience we'll never forget. All right, time to talk food. Good old St. Patrick's Day. It's not a holiday that Disney's going to go all out for, but it definitely, makes a splash when it comes to limited time treats and drinks. And this past St. Patty's Day, we decided to celebrate at Nomad Lounge in Disney's Animal Kingdom. We ordered the St. Patrick's Day dessert trio, which included an Amarula rainbow cake, whiskey caramel cake pop, and coffee panna cotta. And they were very tasty, but the flavor's not crucial to this story. What's important for you to take away here is that bizarre-looking chocolate accent sticking out of the rainbow cake. Honestly, the DFB team was stumped. What is it? At first we thought, oh, it's a pirate ship wheel. Why would there be a pirate ship wheel? And then we thought it could be a spider web. And maybe Nomad Lounge got super confused and mixed up St. Patty's Day with Halloween. Happens to the best of us. But we dropped the spiderweb theory and stuck with the pirate ship wheel for a bit. After all, history claims that St. Patrick himself was kidnapped by Irish pirates as a teen. So you know what? Maybe the cupcake was a weird inside baseball homage to that. Finally, we couldn't take it anymore. We just had to know what this mysterious emblem atop our rainbow cake was. Well, according to the chef, the chocolate was actually a compass, which was one of those, oh, okay, moments for the team. A compass made more sense than a pirate ship wheel, and it made way more sense than a spider web. Fun fact, the compass is the symbol for Nomad Lounge. But we gotta admit, we were a little disappointed Nomad Lounge didn't actually make a pirate ship wheel to represent the capture of poor St. Patrick, because that would have been quite the dark choice for such a happy looking pastry. But now you kind of get a peek inside what our text threads look like for DFB. You just never really know what people are gonna come up with. And you know how we were all like, oh my gosh, you guys, Disney World's releasing 150 snacks for the 50th anniversary celebration? Well, let's talk about that next. We ate those snacks. We ate them all, but it was all for the sake of science. And what did science wind up teaching us? that 70% of those 50th anniversary desserts are covered in bright blue icing. So by the end of the day on October 1st, we felt like we'd fit in nicely with the Na'vi over in Pandora. Our hands were blue, our lips were blue, our tongues were very, very blue. Teeth, unfortunately, also blue. One of our reporters even had blue icing on their shoes somehow when it was all said and done. But trying all those different treats was still a ton of fun and delicious for the most part. We'll pretend the Squid's Revenge cocktail never happened. Now, next on our list, I may be biased, but our team is pretty awesome, and we're going to talk about a little contest we had. We're not only here providing you with the best tips and tricks we can track down, but we're also having a great time while we do it, and I'm super thankful to work in an environment where everyone gets along really, really well, and they do. Although our writers, reporters, and social media team don't all work under the same roof, we still like to celebrate together, and this year we decided to have our first annual DFB Halloween costume contest. Again, biased AJ here, but our team really went all out to compete in this one. In the end, we had to award a winner, and the trophy went to our TikTok queen, Cassie. Cassie's costume was the DFB team. No, really, she dressed like the entire team, and she nailed our profile pictures in the best and worst way possible. It's like looking in a mirror. Everyone, let's give Cassie a round of applause. I know it's not Halloween anymore, but let's just humor her, okay? She needs it. Oh, I'm excited to talk about this one next. Sure, Disney's 50th anniversary was a good time. Yes, we got to experience new rides, new restaurants, new shows. But the best thing to come out of Disney's 50th anniversary? Sea urchins wearing Mickey hats. I am not kidding. So here's what happened. The aquarists over at the Seas with Nemo and Friends, aquarists, is that a word? In Epcot, 3D printed Mickey ears to put in the Urchins tank in honor of the 50th anniversary celebration. But because urchins naturally pick up objects for decoration or camouflage, the urchins found the Mickey ears and wore them right on top of their spiky little bodies. What's better than an urchin wearing a Mickey hat? I'll tell you what's better. An urchin wearing 2 Mickey hats. Seems like one of the urchins got a little greedy when it came to their Disney attire, but like I'd be a total hypocrite if I judged them for that. And the sea urchins also decided to pull out their festive sides this year. Around Halloween, their tank was decorated with spooky, scary cobwebs, and during the holidays, they made sure to whip out their menorah, their dreidels, their coins for Hanukkah season. Thank you, sea urchins, for the amount of serotonin you brought to us this year. Okay, now it's time to continue our discussion of wildlife in Disney World. Now, I'm one of those people who gets super distracted by the Disney World wildlife. Despite being in Disney and surrounded by top-notch Imagineering at all times, like if a mama duck and all her little baby ducks are meandering around wherever I am, then you can bet your bottom dollar I will be watching them as if they are the season finale of my favorite Disney Plus show. Of course, I'm never one to try to pet any of the wildlife or feed them because you're not supposed to. Disney doesn't want their furry and feathery friends begging for food around the parks because then it trains them to not be able to find their own food. And even though we can control what we feed the animals, we can't always control the animals. Back in May, one of our reporters was just minding her own business, sitting down for a peaceful quick service lunch when a squirrel jumped onto her table and was like, "Hey, that grilled cheese sandwich and fries you're nomming on, I'ma steal that." This is the only time I'll ever laugh over an attempted theft. Oh, squirrels, you are pesky and kind of scary. Now, before I get into the details of this lovely next memory of ours, y'all are familiar with Noodle the Bones Day, No Bones Day dog from Tic Tac, right? You remember way back in like November? In case you're not, here's a quick recap. Owner picks up Pug. Pug either A, stands on his own 4 legs, making it a Bones Day, or B, flops back down on his bed, making it a No Bones Day. The realm of TikTok became really invested in Noodle's daily Bones, No Bones Day forecast, and DFB was not immune to this trend. So now that you're all caught up, I'd like to introduce you to DFB's parody version of Noodle the Pug, Figments Sweater, No Sweater Saga. When Halloween came to a close, the team could only think about one thing. When would Figment get his seasonal holiday sweater back? You see, around the holidays, a few of the rides get Christmas overlays. Jungle Cruise turns into Jingle Cruise, and Livin' with the Land gets all decked out with Christmas lights and festiveness galore, but the Journey into Imagination with Figment ride has a more subtle change, but some would argue it's the best change. Our little purple dragon friend switches out of his traditional yellow sweater and slips on a powder blue holiday sweater with the Imagination Pavilion logo on the front, and we lose our minds every time it shows back up. It's only been there for like 2 years, but still, we lose our minds. So this year, we began tracking every time we rode Journey into Imagination with Figment, waiting for the moment Figment would change into his holly jolly self. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, we rode every single day. Now, for the longest time, Figment continued to sport his traditional yellow outfit, deeming the day as a no sweater day. Please feel sorry for us. We had to smell a lot of Figment skunk spray for this endeavor. But on November 26th, we were finally able to catch Figment's wardrobe change, and all was right with the world. Finally, it was a sweater day, and we will do it all again next year if we have to. Okay, now, before Remy's Ratatouille adventure opened on October 1st, the DFB team felt it was necessary to make Remy feel a little more at home within the World Showcase. So naturally, we carried around our plush Remy and took him on an adventure. We began in the France pavilion, of course, which he fell in love with right away. We're off to a good start. Then we headed over to the UK pavilion. Remy wanted to call Emile and tell him how awesome DFB was, but he was just a little short on change and height. Because Epcot was in the midst of the Festival of the Arts at the time, we felt it was only right that Remy should try a bite of his own ratatouille. After all, he works so hard to feed others. It was time for us to return the favor. Now, he gobbled it up just as we expected from a sophisticated rat like himself, with fork and knife at the ready. He continued his adventure into the Canada and Mexico pavilions, where he stopped for a couple photo ops and another snack or two. We are so proud. Then he lingered around the China pavilion for a bit longer than the others because, well, it's the year of the rat, so it only seemed fitting for him to celebrate. He thoroughly enjoyed the Norway, American Adventure, Japan, and Morocco pavilions, but he was a bit partial to Germany since they had a little village that made him look giant in comparison. All in all, Remy had a great day, and we did too, and I'm so glad we could all welcome him to his new home in Epcot. Plus, I think he's adjusted quite nicely. And yes, this is how we here at the DFB team have fun. Now, speaking of Epcot, let's talk just for a second about a little bit of behind the scenes stuff. You know all those pictures and videos that we have of the monorail just passing by Spaceship Earth? Like, you catch it just at the right time. It's almost as if the monorail stopped right there for us to take that picture. But no, that is captured after collective hours of waiting for the monorail. All of us here at DFB know that if you're standing there trying to get a picture of Spaceship Earth from the opposite side of the monorail tracks, you have to wait for the monorail to go by. It's the law. So anytime you see a video or a picture of the monorail passing by Spaceship Earth from DFB, know that there was probably a reporter standing there for at least 5 minutes just waiting. And if you see us there just waiting on your visit to Epcot, come up and say hi, because we don't have anything else to do. Now, I'm about to throw us all under the bus here. I know our pictures and videos always look pretty good, but we don't always nail those shots the first time around. So without further ado, please enjoy this oh so lovely montage of bloopers.
Please have a little showtime with the day. Why is my hands so shaky? How do I do that? I knew I was going to do something. Yeah, I was going to do that. No, that one's better. What do I have to do?
And that's a wrap on 2021, friends. Thank you so much for joining us throughout this year. We hope that all the tips, tricks, recommendations, reviews, and news updates were super helpful, and we promise to keep providing you with the same solid content as we head into 2022. We're already getting ready. We're already starting to record. It's gonna be awesome. And of course, don't forget to get a head start. Sign up for our newsletter. I promise it's awesome. It's so useful. It's so easy to use. It's all the news that you need if you're headed to Disney World or if you just want to keep up to date on Disney World and Disneyland. The link to sign up for our completely free newsletter is right there in the description of this video. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for watching. It's been quite a year and we can't wait to launch into 2022 with you as well. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.